It is critical that during this time that we find a way to listen. And that's exactly what we're doing right now.
Hey everybody, it's Amy Martin, founder and executive producer of Threshold, and that was Michelle Fournet, one of the people we featured this year on Threshold Conversations, our new interview series. 2020 has been a weird and hard year for pretty much everyone. But here at Threshold, that hasn't stopped us from bringing you important, thoughtful stories and interviews about our human relationships with the natural world. And in the midst of this dark year, we actually got some really fabulous news. We won our first Peabody Award, one of the most prestigious honors in our field, for Season 3 of our show, which featured people like Sarah James of Arctic Village, Alaska.
We are the Caribou people. If it wasn't for the Caribou, we won't be here today.
Most of the other Peabody winners had staffs and budgets many orders of magnitude larger than ours. We're doing a lot with a little here at Threshold, and we want to do a whole lot more. That's where you come in. Our annual membership drive is starting soon. It runs November 1st through the end of the year. Our goal is to raise $30,000 during the drive this year to help fund more in-depth reporting about climate change, environmental justice, wildlife, public lands, and so much more. We pour resources into producing this work, and then we release it for free because we want as many people as possible to hear these stories and grapple with these issues. But a key part of making that work is your support. We need you to help power us forward for another year. So if you appreciate Threshold, I want to ask you to take a minute and think about what you'd be willing to pay for this show if it wasn't free. What is it worth to you? Like, how does it compare to your Netflix subscription or your cable bill or your weekly coffee run? Maybe you can give $10 or $20 or $50 a month. Maybe you want to factor Threshold into your year-end giving. Whatever you can contribute really makes a difference for us. And starting on Sunday, November 1st, all donations up to $1,000 will be doubled thanks to the program Newsmatch. So if you give between November 1st and the end of the year, your gift will have double the impact. There are a lot of people listening to this who are already giving to Threshold. Thank you. We see you. We are more grateful for you than we can possibly express. And thanks in advance to all of you who are about to join our community of listeners or re-up your commitment in the next 2 months. You can donate and track our progress toward that $30,000 goal at thresholdpodcast.org. Here are some more of the voices we've shared with you so far this year, plus a sneak preview from some of the episodes we're going to release in the weeks ahead.
Hello again from Milan. Our restrictions are pretty severe, and what I miss most is not having been able to go for a walk, not even a short one in the park, for these last 7 weeks of lockdown.
And that's the point where she kind of kicked into high gear in terms of she was the only one still alive. Except for Vic, the cat. At this point, all the men had died, but she and Vic were kind of doing their thing.
If you help the most vulnerable, you're helping everyone.
You know, as George Floyd and so many others have pleaded for breath, there are others pleading more slowly for breath that are being choked out by pollution and by the impacts of climate change.
Suddenly it's a pandemic and food supply is so critical. So suddenly they're protecting them. And he says, but as long as they're building that wall, it tells me that we are not welcome. It peeled away the layers and exposed the hypocrisy in the United States.
There's a reason environmentalists fight very hard at the leasing stage, and it's because once that lease is in somebody's hands, for the time period of that lease, they have a right to do something. It's a right to drill, and it's pretty strong.
We are redefining how our environmentalism is practiced and how it's being presented. We know there's no white air, there's no Hispanic air, there's no native indigenous people's air, there's air.
If there's any lesson to really bring out of what's happening with COVID-19, especially in countries like the United States, this is what happens when you ignore a disaster on your doorstep.
I'm not pretending to an optimism that I don't have. I just know that the task of the moment is to try.
There is always joy, even in the darkest places. Always.
We can make good decisions, and we can make generous decisions, and we can make kind decisions, and we can make hard decisions. So yes, I think that we can change our behavior. I think that we can change how we interact with each other, and I think that we can change how we interact with this world.
These humpback whale sounds were recorded by Michelle Fournet. And you know what they're saying? Vote. Vote.